like that. But you can go on for another 2 hours of talking, and it's only gonna get worse. But if you do that, the game's over. Or to take it from anger to sexy, literally in 10 seconds or less, even though they don't want it to be sexy. See, when you can understand someone's triggers and you know what that trigger is, it's like pushing a button. It happens every single time. So I thought we'd look into those together today if you're interested. We'll start the process. But think of it this way. Sometimes when things aren't working and you're really focused on what you want, like you've really been honest with yourself, you know what you want, you know why you want it, it's still not working, you're working so hard, your brain starts to go, nothing's gonna work. And once you believe that, you're screwed. So I want you to understand, when it looks like you're a million miles away from where you need to be, you're usually only what I would call 2 millimeters away, 2 millimeters. I'll give you a metaphor for it that's based on a real life experience I have. I have a client of mine, I have these people that I coach, and I've had, over the years I do a maximum of 7, but they pay me $1 million a year to coach them. And what I do is I get $1 million to coach them, plus I get a piece of their upside. So one of those people is one of the top 10 financial traders in the world. And I called him the other morning, and he lost $50 million in 5 minutes. And by the end of the day, he lost $1 billion in a day, right? And he was throwing up, you might guess. And I got to turn him around, right? He doesn't usually need me for motivation, it's more strategic, but he's been my client for 16 years. And I tell you this not to impress you, but to impress upon you. These people aren't looking for positive thinking. They want a strategy that's going to produce the result right now to make the shift in what they're doing. So, over the years, I've had a variety of clients like that. One of the clients years ago that I had, for a short time, the financial client's been my client for 16 years. But this other client I had was just for like a year and a half. And he's one of the top facial surgeons in the world. Like the Sultan of Brunei paid him $2 million to fly over and do 2 faces of members of his family. Anyone who's unbelievably famous and has the money to do so will see this person. And people don't even know they've had surgery, but it's that incredible. So I went to go see him to do this coaching session, and he's late. So I'm sitting there waiting, and finally the nurse comes out and says, Dr. Hoffman said, why don't you come into the surgery? We can talk a little bit. Okay. So I come in, he's got music, flying mask, they put the mask and shit on me, I come in there, you know, and he's bouncing around, doing stuff, and he goes, hey Tony, how's it going, man? And I goes, and lifts off this woman's face. And I say, you know, I need to use the restroom. And it was like, so I decided I wasn't gonna stay there for the entire experience, and I was gonna wait in his office, make a few phone calls and so forth. While I wait in his office, he has this big manuscript that he's writing. Because he's at a stage of life now where he doesn't want significance of being the best surgeon in the world. He's got that. Now he wants a legacy. And he knows he's getting older, so he's going to teach other people how to do what he's done. And what he is a genius. He's figured out the symmetry of attraction worldwide. In other words, what are the specific little triggers that make a woman attractive to any man virtually, regardless of cultural conditioning? And vice versa, the same thing with women. And so I'm reading through this thing, and he shows all these pictures, like 100 of the most attractive women over the last 20 years culturally, around the world, not just one country. And same thing with men. And then he shows his analysis of what are the triggers he's found. These little strategies that are in your unconscious mind that make you respond to people, whether you know it or not, or want to know it or not, or want to respond or not. And so interestingly enough, he then shows how these changes he makes usually a maximum of 7 changes, but none of them are more than 2 millimeters. And he took an 84-year-old woman, this is one of the most dramatic case I saw, she looked like she was 50 and gorgeous, no exaggeration. 7 in her cases, 7 changes, all less than 2 millimeters. I thought, wow, that is trippy. To think you can make that big a change with 2 millimeters, and it kind of stuck in my head. I mean, these people, it was like night and day, different human being. So like, for example, if you're interested, for a woman, part of what makes a woman attractive is different than men. Men have angular things in their face that trigger a woman. For women, it's more oval. But for example, in the eye, if the measurement of a woman's lips, if the measurement below her nose to the top of her lip, that little measurement, if that is the same size as the pupil of her eye or smaller, her lips drive men crazy no matter how big her lips are. Just that distance creates an experience in a man that makes him want her unconsciously. And if it's even smaller than the pupil, it's even more of a driving force in men. It's in the genetics. I see some women measuring them. If it's 2 millimeters, you're attractive. If it's less than 2 millimeters, you're off the chart sexy. If it's larger than that, you have a fair face. If it's more than 1 millimeter bigger than that, you are butt-ass ugly, according to his technique. want change though? How many get this? Raise your hand, say ah. You can go to a surgeon, I see people go to a surgeon, they've had all the surgery, they look like hell. How many know what I'm talking about? They look like hell afterwards. But this guy knows the exact little thing to do. He can do less and get more. Because he's the right coach, he has the right camp, he's got the right strategy, because he is the best. He's not good, he's the best. And anything you want to do in your life, if you're not making progress, get to the best. When I had nothing, I was totally broke, I didn't know how to do anything, I couldn't pay my rent, I would go find the best. I'd take them to lunch or dinner even though I didn't have any money. Or I'd go to a seminar, guys like Jim Rohn had no money, and I did it because I thought, you know what, I'm never going to have the money until I make the change in my psychology, until I learn what they know. That was the most important distinction I made that set me off. If I hadn't done that, I could have wobbled around for another 10 or 20 years doing good stuff. Good won't change your life. Good is the enemy of great. And you have to absolutely go for great. You have to go for outstanding. You have to go for the most magnificent. You've got to stretch yourself. Otherwise, you can spend the same time, energy, money, effort, whatever, and not get the result. So this stuck in my head, and my boys, I have two boys that now play golf. And I swore I'd never play golf because I was very clear that I didn't need to use the word fuck any more often than I had in my life before. And I noticed everyone who played used that word a lot. And to me it was like too slow, too old, but I wanted to be with my boys, so I take up the game of golf. Within the first 2 days, no exaggeration, I outdrove my golf instructor. And I was more than happy to share that with everyone. Which he was not very happy about, as you might guess. So, and I kept teasing him mercilessly, oh, this is an easy game. Shit, look at this, you haven't been here 2 days, you've been doing it 20 years. Yeah, and I'm just ribbing it like guys do, guys, right? So we go out on the golf course now. I've been on a practice range. Now we go on the golf course. And he said, I want to give you a little training this morning, give me this little training, and we can get out there. And all of a sudden I go to hit the ball. And I hit the ball, right? But I hit it way the hell over here. Right? And all of a sudden I hit it way over here. And it's going everywhere but straight. I'm getting more frustrated. I'm like, give me another one, give me another one, you know? We're on the golf course. People are waiting up, like, go on through, I gotta do another one. You know, I gotta figure this out. And I'm getting more and more frustrated. Nothing's working. And he's sitting behind me going, ain't it a bitch? Welcome to golf. Thought you were so good. He said, you haven't got it down. And I looked at him and I said, it's not golf, it's me. Yesterday, I was hitting the ball like crazy. I said, there's something I'm doing different. It's not the game. And I can get up and go for a good 30 minutes. I'm getting real frustrated. Finally he said, well, honestly, Tony, you're only 2 millimeters off. Because I said, I am 150 yards off. He goes, Tony, you're only 2 millimeters off. And I said, what did you just say? He said, you're only 2 millimeters off. I said, I'm 100 yards off. He said, no, you're 2 millimeters off. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, well, to tell you the truth, you're getting a little too confident, cocky, so I screwed with your swing this morning. I said to him, I said, what? He said, I just wanted to show you that a little change completely changes your game. I said, a little change? I'm changed. What the hell did you do to me? Break my arms and legs? What's going on here? He goes, no, Tony, all I do is I make this little adjustment in the way you come back, and that's dropping your shoulder by about 1 millimeter or 2. He said, but the biggest thing also is, on the practice range, you didn't have to do this, but here, he said, if you hit the ball like this, it's gonna go straight. But if I change it 2 millimeters, just from here to here, that little change, with the force you're hitting it, you're gonna hit it way over there. Or if I make it 2 millimeters this way, you're gonna hit it way over there, even though it's like, almost like it's straight. I said, you didn't tell me how to point the damn thing. I got up in there, got my shoulder back in the normal place, didn't move my hip so much, like this, and straight on the green. I said, let's do that again. Straight on the green. Straight on the green. How was you for? I was pissed at first I was gonna kill him, but then it was a good lesson. Because what it got me was, when it looks like nothing's working, you're only a little strategy away, you're 2 millimeters away. Otherwise you're gonna get up, you're gonna go, I've tried this way for 35 years, nothing's worked. It's not working because either you've not been focused and clear and compelling, or you have the wrong strategy. The right strategy from the best, who knows what they're doing and has gotten the result, they're not talking it, they've lived it, you'll get the result too. Do not give up, find the best, find the 2 millimeters. Find the outstanding person who knows the 2 millimeters, save yourself 20 years of effort. Save yourself all the time and energy. It may have taken them 10 years to figure it out, but they never know it. They can teach it to you in minutes, or days, or weeks, or months, or maybe a year instead of 10. How many follow us? Say ah. Third key, is it possible to know exactly what it is you want?